is everybody doing this wonderful Tuesday? Welcome, welcome. Discord votes, I play. They said blue-white control, I said okay. Whew. Good old blue-white control. We are stretching ourselves to domain, full domain for Leyline Binding. This card is ridiculous. Being able to answer any non-land permanent for 1 white mana is just too good, especially at flash speed. Sure, you have to stretch the mana base just a little thin, but I mean, if there's a deck that's going to take full advantage of the time made available, it's this one. So things that, besides Leyline Binding, that this deck has been doing lately is Chalice of the Void. A lot of people, depending upon 1 mana spells, I've even done it for 2 mana recently. So you are absolutely right, Nugget. And doing the bouncing around with the Discord votes has helped tremendously in that. So Chalice is definitely one of those cards that rewards deck knowledge, knowing that with Burn you need to put it on 2 so that you don't get Boros Charmed, or Skullcracked, or Searing Blazed. 1 is a great start, but if you have 2 Chalice of the Voids, you can just soft block them out of the game. Prismatic Ending is another newer card to the archetype. Since we are stretching our mana base for Domain, might as well go ahead and play these. And with Teferi Time Raveler, we can play them at instant speed. So, awesome. Solitude being the lone creature of the deck, in the main at least. I don't know that we're actually playing anymore on the sideboard. No. Oh, yeah, the Kihira. But yeah, Solitude, the lone creature in the main deck. Mainly there is the sort of Swords to Plowshares effect. We are playing 1 Teferi Hero of Dominaria and 1 Jace the Mind Sculptor over the 4 of Teferi. Those are also win conditions. Earlier today in testing, preparing for today, I was able to ultimate a Jace, and it felt so good. 4 drops, we got 2 Supreme Verdicts, 2 Memory Deluge. Sometimes Supreme Verdict is just too useful. You have to be able to play it in certain matchups, and Teferi being able to give us instant speed, just too good. Memory Deluge is kind of our Fact or Fiction or dig through time, so to speak, so that we can keep everything going smooth. The other 3-drop we are playing is Archmage Charm. It's just counterspell, draw 2 cards, take a 1 mana non-land permanent. I stole an Aether Vial with Archmage Charm, and that was pretty cool. Counterspell and Dress Down round out the main deck. If you're playing this deck and you're not playing Counterspell, all of us modern players who have been trying to force this archetype for too long before Counterspell was even in the format are very mad at you. Mana Leak was not good enough, so now we've got full-on Counterspell in the format. Had it for a good little bit now, but happy to see it. Dress Down, such a good card. Answers all the Urza Saga's tokens, answers a lot of things. Buys a turn against Yawgmoth. Jeez. Dress Down is just so good. Stops Furies, stops opponents, or stops Solitudes. Stop. Alright, welcome everybody to round 1. We are playing the winner of the Discord poll, Blue-White Control. Every week I put a poll up consisting of 3 decks. This week it was Classic Jund, Grixis Death Shadow, and Blue-White Control. And the Discord votes. We had a total of 6 votes on this. Blue-White Control with 4 votes, 2 votes for Jund. But here we are, playing Blue-White Control through a league. We're going to keep this hand. We've got mana. We can reach Domain. We can Chalice on 2. Looks pretty good. Except for our opponent is playing Burn. Goblin Guide's going to put a land on top of our library into our hand. We're going to Polluted Delta pass. Cleanup means steam vents. We're going to fetch to get our Ragran Triome before the Goblin Guide triggers resolve in case. There's a Chalice of the Void. We're going to take 4 here. We're going to turn off 1 this turn. Opponent saw it coming, so... Okay, Rift Bolt. Attacks. We got a Prismatic Ending coming off the top. That's great news. I think, though, at the beginning of combat, we're going to steal a Goblin Guide from them. See if they still want to attack. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take that and go to 5. All right. Nice. Let's turn off 2 and pass the turn. Rift Bowl is still a concern, of course. But we got everything else turned off. Put Flooded Strand out there and pass on a Memory Deluge during the end step. We'll go and get Zagoth just so that we have the Triome out of the way, and it isn't one of the cards that we see. Let's take the Archmage Charm and the Teferi. Prismatic Ending the Goblin Guide. I'm so silly for doing that because of the oof. Could have just, yeah, that was bad. Sometimes I forget Chalice of the Void. Sometimes I get punished for it. We're gonna grab the other Goblin Guide here. Beat our opponent with their own Goblin Guides. Let's close out the game with a Chalice on 3. We've cast 2 Archmage Charms already. That does turn off Teferi Time Raveler for us, but it turns off everything in their deck. Our Pokemon does not have lifelink. It has Vigilance. Lurrus was the one with lifelink. Dovin's Veto, Flusterstorm, Celestial Purge. We'll cut the Leyline bindings. I think they're just gonna be too expensive life-wise. And a Supreme Verdict. Actually, They go pretty lean on creatures post-board, I believe, so... We might need answers for Roiling Vortex. I want to keep some number of... Dress down seems pretty bad. Teferi's because of Riftbolt. Chalice of the Void was an all-star there. Drawing all three was... Well, I mean, playing Commander a lot more than Modern, right? So, like, I don't blame you at all. So we get to reveal our Pokemon. This hand is pretty good. We're on the draw, so that does trouble me some. Dragon's Rage Channeler is an interesting inclusion for Burn. I can't hate on it. I dig it, because if there's one thing Burn needs is some card selection. I'm not sure how easy it is to get Delirium, though. With Riftbolt going to exile, we can safely fetch here. I don't want Ragran Triome to end up in our hand when it needs to be on the battlefield. There is a white card we can exile to Solitude. We can counterspell Riftbolt. Well, let's see what they surveil. If they surveil. Riftbolt plus Dragon's Rage Channeler seems pretty sweet. They put a Boros Charm in the yard. We'll take the 3. Are they digging for a land? What are they looking for? Skullcrack? Let them surveil first. Maybe they're just trying real hard to... hit Delirium. Can't imagine wanting to put Riftbolt in the bin. Polluted Delta goes to our hand. Let's grab the Goblin Guide, because we may want to actually steal the Dragon's Rage Channeler. And that saves a little bit of life. No big deal, right? Skewer the Critics. Okay, so we're at 9. Opponent has 1 card left in hand. They're a card type away from Delirium. We just drew the best thing we could have drawn off the top of our library. Let's go. I'm gonna exile Dragon's Rage Channeler, hold up Counterspell. We'll fetch for basic island here. Unless opponent does nothing. If opponent does nothing... Okay, they went Riftbolt. We're gonna get Boros Charmed here, I bet. No, we didn't. Okay, let's grab Zagoth. Okay. Sweet. Okay, now we can afford to counterspell this Riftbolt. Why didn't you do that? Were they F6'd? Maybe? I don't know. Either way, we get to counterspell Boros Charm. Let's go grab Basic Island. We get to counterspell Rift Bolt. Counterspelling the Rift Bolt turns off Skewer the Critics. Monastery Swift Spear. That's a card we can steal. Or answer. Just outright answer it. They're going to draw a card off Sunbaked Canyon this turn, I believe. We've got 2 Archmage Charms. Yeah. I want to be able to counterspell or draw 2 cards. Like, whatever they play. Okay, that makes sense. I was confused at first, but with Dragon's Rage Channeler, that's fair. We're going to draw 2 cards. Sick. Kind of. We need land. That's tough. That's so bad. Yeah. There's no difference between 1, 2, and 3 against this deck. At least, I don't think Roiling Vortex is there, so... we'll grab... We've got plenty of white sources, but a white source could turn into blue pretty easily with Mystic Gate. Sick. Draw a card. All right. Counterspell number 4. Let's go. Oh, man. Plus, I really don't think we can afford to hero Dominaria here. I wish. I mean, we're on the ropes. Just about every spell off the top of their library is one that could kill us. That is no bueno. All right. Nice. Like it had to be a creature for us to be able to get through this turn. That's so sick. Another Leyline Binding is on top. Okay, cool. All right, feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty fine. I'm going to draw that Leyline Binding. I'm going to play this Plains, draw a card from Teferi. Plus that Teferi. Let's draw Kaheera. And pass. They know the Leyline Binding. They know the Kahira. They don't know the Scalding Tarn. Fantastic. Let's not mess around. Let's just go ahead and binding it. Castle Vantris is an interesting one. Alright, we'll put it on 1. Good game. All right. Let's run it back. We had so many counter spells that game and still couldn't get there. Let's see what we can do on the play this time. Chalice of the Void MVP. Let's keep this. Go back with basic island. Land go. We'll grab, since we have Mystic Gate and don't have a Leyline Binding, I think it'll be fine if we go Zagoth Steam Vents. We have Purge on the top. Smash to Smithereens is a pain, though. I think we have to... we can't cost ourselves much more life. We have the Purge to answer the guide, or we can charm it. Another Chalice coming in off the top. That's good news. Not for our opponent, though. We've got a Mystic Gate. We'll pass the turn. Boros Charm will meet Counterspell. So the goal is to hit another land to be able to survive the 2 drops. We're at the 3 drops at this point. Hopefully their hand is several 1-drops. We got another island here we can go get to turn off 2. But I think this turn, since we're looking at Counterspell Celestial Purge in our hand, we're not going to turn off 2 just yet. We do need to answer this Goblin Guide. This is one of those matchups that can go either way. And like here, prismatic ending. All right, we'll take this too. With prismatic ending on top, if they don't do anything, we can untap. Oh, shucks. Mystic Gate. Curses. Curses. Alright, mountain. Draw a card. Okay, opponent has 5 cards in hand still. I'm done with this Goblin Guide here. Let's... Leyline Binding off the top. What is their hand? 1-drops? Alright, well, we'll just pass. Sick. If it's 2 Boros Charms, we survive at 1. It's not. Let's go. Alright. Still kind of a tough situation here. We've got a Dovin's Veto now. We just need a couple more lands and we can actually start pushing towards the finish line. Let's Memory Deluge. See how many times we get got. Definitely grabbing Flooded Strand. We'll grab Leyline Binding as well. Flooded Strand will probably end up picking up Ragavan Triome. Actually, I think it needs to grab Plains so that we can cast and start attacking with Solitude. Alright, so now they're looking at the 3-drops. It's got to be Ragavan Triome. Plains, let's get to Fairy out there. Sweet. What is going on? Tons of 1-drops, I'm hoping. Plus here... let's turn off 2. Boom. Get the W. Blue-white is always a tough one to play. Burn is always a tough matchup to fight against as well. Oh my goodness. Chalice of the Void, MVP that round. Holy cow. Alright, let's add a 1 to the win column. one more for the good guys. All right, and with that, that's the end of round 1. We'll see you at the beginning of round 2. We don't have a white source, but we do have 2 counter spells and a dress down to get this going. I think we keep it. Have the worst land in our deck for turn 1, then turn 2, the second worst land in our deck. It is also a win condition. Ah, sick. Flooded Strain can grab Hallowed Fountain if we need it. We are still keeping with the turn 1, turn 2 plan, unfortunately. It looks like we're playing against Creativity, which is intriguing. I'm excited to see how we do. Also, no, this isn't Creativity. Creativity is red-based, so Misty Rainforest is not in the deck. Hall pass. Hall pass. Dumb. Alright, Steam Vents from our opponent here. Tapped. So, Rhinos? I'm feeling Rhinos. Rhinos. I mean, Omnath might be in the deck, but do they have the force? They don't have a force. Sick. Alright, well, we're going to grab Ragran Triome. Hopeful that we hit another white source or fetch land to get a white source so that we can Prismatic Ending and Teferi Time Raveler. Magical Christmas Land is not for us. I think I still want to Teferi. I should have done so before playing a land drop. Okay. They do have a force. So we have Prismatic Ending. We don't have a second white source. So Prismatic Ending and Solitude would be very helpful at answering these. I kind of want to be able to cast each of them individually. Here I'd like to be able to Solitude one of the Rhinos during this upcoming turn. Maybe we hit a second white spell and we can Prismatic Ending one and then evoke the Solitude. That hurts. So that takes us to 6. We'll have to take 4. It takes us to 6, and then we have to... I think what we do is just Prismatic Ending one of them. It's tough. Hit dress down real quick. Just to hit the cantrip. Okay. Don't have fire, please. Sweet. Island go. This is tough. GG. Alright, so Teferi most important. We want Flusterstorm, we want Dovin's Veto, and we want Hallowed Moonlight. Dress Down's garbage. Chalice is great. Teferi's great. Archmage Charm seems really good. Supreme Verdict seems really good. Maybe it is just Leyline Binding. That'll keep us from having to stress getting land types, so we can just have better mana. Alright. Let's see what being on the play can do for us here for game 2. We got a Chalice we can cast for free. Yeah, this hand is great. See if they do anything. They have a force? Nope, they don't have a force. Or at least not a force of negation. Dun, dun, dun. I need that. As one of my Ragran first. See if we are capable of getting full domain, if we have to fetch something like basic to be able to land Dovin's Veto. I imagine they're pretty, what's the word? Just let it go. I don't need to cast anything there. I want to be able to interact with their answer to Chalice. I have another one. You gotta wait till my turn. Let's see. No? We don't need to set up full domain anyway, so I'm just gonna grab Hallowed Fountain. Well, we don't have an answer to their answer to our Chalice at this point, so let's just give them a second answer to have to fight through. Okay. Chalice doing the work. See if we can land Teferi number 2. Name of the Force. No. I hope not. They do. Okay, they're just using Mystical Dispute instead. Maybe they think we have Spell Pierce, but that's kind of weird given Chalice. Maybe it was a situation where they... Okay. Man. At first I was like, oh, yikes, Murktide. And then I was like, wait, we have a Supreme Verdict. That answers Murktide the best. Because they can't counter it. Now we got a Memory Deluge coming up. So we're going to start, hopefully, turning the corner. We've stabilized. We've put a hold on the game. Endurance here looks like it's going to try to do something. Let's grab an island and... Deluge here. Maybe they have the Force. It's a lot of hard work to go through to get Endurance on the battlefield if they do. Okay. Well, we've got Prismatic Ending that can answer that. They'll get 3 damage out of this Endurance. Targeting us. F6 through the turns that we don't need to do anything. Solitude's pretty sweet. We're gonna go red. We'll get white blue out of this. That'll answer Endurance. They have 2 cards left in their hand. Let's hold this counterspell. We'll grab the Kaheera next turn. Probably should have just let that resolve and Endurance or Solituded it. They have 1 card left in their hand. Two cards now. I want to leave Zagoth in the library at this point just to have that Cycler available. Hera, get in there. Sweet. Starting to turn that corner. Starting to turn that corner. Let's go. Petty theft is a bit annoying. Not gonna lie. Do you have the spell to back that up? Nope, just casting Brazen Borrower. That's fine. We'll take it this time. We'll instep the Solitude. No idea what their last card is. It's probably Rhinos, though. Is it, though? Like, why would... maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's attack. It's probably Rhinos. Huh. Let's just replay Chalice. It's a Force of Negation. They really want to make sure we don't have that. Man, that's tough. Get these cards out of our library. I also should... I'm not paying attention enough. I should be Castle Vantressing. Okay, so we are going to draw Teferi. We're going to attack with Solitude. They likely block since it's Vigilance. And then we Teferi bounce the other token. Then we've got Memory Deluge sitting on top of our library to refuel. Thank you, Nugget, for trying to remind me. And there we go. All right. Close the door. Okay, so now we're on the draw. Counterspell, Dovin's Veto, Hallowed Moonlight all give us a chance to answer Rhinos before it's a problem. All right, well, we got there. We've got enough answers, I think. We're pretty well positioned, honestly, against Rhinos. We've got a lot of answers. It's just finding the point to turn the corner and close the game out that is the issue. On the draw, this isn't good enough. This is great. I hate it, but we have to. Just go ahead and let them know that they have to answer that before they're able to do anything. got Mystic Gate, so we'll be able to play that. Hold up Counterspell. Want to be able to just continue making land drops, protect Chalice. Yeah, just try to... I like that we have more time on our clock than our opponent does. That makes me feel a lot more comfortable about our position. All right. So there's a fourth land. That's good news. Our opponent's going to try Petty Theft during our end step. Ice. Okay. Sure. Alright, I want to avoid the whole ice thing again. So we're going to shock that in. Again, the goal is just to continue making land drops. Endurance is whatever. We'll find a window to solitude it shortly. Okay. Land. Okay. No harm in playing a second Chalice. Except for that. There's the harm in playing a second Chalice for 0. How do you know Anthony is not a Chalice player? I haven't owned Chalices since I sold them to buy into Jund in Modern so many moons ago. Tarmogoyfs were expensive. Now I don't remember the last time I played Tarmogoyfs in paper. Land? Yeah, you were trying to warn me about the Chalice. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for at least trying. Alright, well, we've got a potential answer to Endurance here. We don't have a 5th land, but we do have another white spell that we can exile. It's not time to do that just yet. We'll give it one more turn. Sick. They have 6 cards in their hand, so it might still be pertinent to evoke. Might still be pertinent to evoke. They're going to try to hit a second Endurance here. And that's how I feel about that. You have a mystical dispute? Man. We're at 9, so I think this is the turn we... acknowledge that endurance is a problem. Okay. They're not going to cast the Crashing Footfalls because they know it's going to get countered. I think this is the turn we actually cast Solitude. We'll take this 2 first. I think it's an end step. Grab basic. What do you say? What do you say, opponent? You have 6 cards in your hand. What do you say about this 3-2 here? What do you say about this 3-2 about to answer your 2-2? Mine has lifelink. Yours usually casts a second spell. You have a mystical dispute for my Solitude? Okay, fine. What about my Teferi, Hero of Dominaria? Do you have anything to say about that? No? That's exciting. Oh, and a Hallowed Moonlight? Okay. Hallowed Moonlight will answer Rhinos if they have an answer for Chalice here. Let's go... They do have an answer for Chalice here. I'm loving it. Let's get it. We'll untap... Fountain Mystic Gate. Man, I hope we get them with this Hallowed Moonlight. Ooh. Yeah, for the Solitude, probably. Yeah, they did. But that opened up for an opportunity for Teferi, which is super sweet. I don't know... Well, we can't do anything about Fury. Hallowed Moonlight sees this as an alternate cost. Unfortunately, that means Teferi's going to die. Do they have another Shardless Agent they're trying to cast? Like, do they just think I have an answer? I'm not sure what's up. That was weird. Oh, they're going upkeep. Okay. They have a Force of Negation. Is that why they're doing it here? Let's cast Chalice. I think I have to ending Shardless Agent here. Blue, white, black. And then we'll play Hall of the Storm Giants and pass. They don't have the mana to put Brazen Borrower into their hand or onto the battlefield from the adventure here, so I feel a little more comfortable tapping out than I normally would. Not sure what their last two cards are. Could be a third with Fiery Islet, but we do have Rhinos covered. They'd have to have an answer to Chalice and Cascade spell. Instead, we get to untap. Perfect. Let's go. Not excited about Flooded Strand being our draw step. We'll grab Kahira and pass. I'd like to draw 2 cards with Archmage Charm, but I think we have to counter this Brazen Borrower here. I think Archmage Charm, as far as Moto goes, is my least favorite card to cast at the moment. Oof, that's tough. That is tough. Alright, so we need to find an answer to Endurance. They're going to shuffle our graveyard into our library or theirs? That's an interesting choice. They're shuffling their own. Good call. Good call, opponent. Well done. That makes this fetch land a lot worse because they could have Fire Ice now. They're certainly trying to draw towards it. Let's not even sacrifice the fetch land then. Let's just pass the turn. We'll take the 3, go to 3. This is a blue and 5, so if we really need it, we can go get a basic 5 mana. Endurance? No. Oh, Murktide. Supreme Verdict off the top. Let's go. Nope. Not so lucky. Murktide's coming in over the top, so that's gonna get them there. Bad beats. Alright, opponent is going to be on the play. Let's reveal our Pokemon. This is an okay hand. We've got mana. Archmage Charm to Fairy. We can Solitude early. I think we keep it. I don't think we can keep this. We're not doing anything until turn 3. Yeah. That sounds terrible in Modern. This is better. Let's get rid of Flooded Strand. Alright, Jebediah. Okay, we got a Blood Crypt tapped. You'll love to see it. Solitude off the top for us. We'll Scalding Tarn pass. Likely just going to grab Ragavan. We're going to probably go Ragavan, Zagoth, and then Mystic Gate to round it out. Blood Crypt number 2 tapped again. Apparently Jebediah is just starting their league. Polluted Delta pass. Huh. We'll have full domain in order to be able to Leyline Binding whatever, so Liliana? Seasoned Pyromancer. Sure. What are we discarding? So am I seeing, like, classic Jund here? Is this... Yep, Fury, Sokenzan. That's pretty close. Blood Crypt, Overgrown Tomb. We'll go ahead and binding the Pyromancer during the end step, grabbing the other Triome to fill out Domain. Use this window to answer the threat in front of us. This is also a pretty good time to Fairy. They discarded a Fury, so they also discarded a Sokenzan, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. Alright, Teferi's on the battlefield. We bounced a token. We drew another Teferi. Let's see what the opponent has for us. Blood Crypt, Overgrown Tomb. Bloodstained Mire is the 4th land to add to the battlefield. Going with another Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. Cool, cool. Binning. Goblin Bombardment. And a Terminate. Okay. Huh. Bombardment, you say? Let's pump Teferi here so that he absorbs a bit of damage. Archmage Charm is going to be our best friend, I feel like, this turn. Either giving us divination or answering something. That's probably where I'm messing up, is how often I don't draw off of Archmage Charm. Maybe I need to be doing that more often. Because, like, hitting a Supreme Verdict here would be pretty good. But this big mana spell's definitely... It's Fury. So I think we actually need to get into a bit of removal. Fury is going to answer Teferi. Got all of our mana fixed out here. Go blue, blue, blue. We'll draw 2. Maybe we hit a binding. We hit a prismatic ending. Hit a chalice. So that's going to happen. We're going to take some damage. We're not... A little disappointed we didn't hit our 5th land through that. But I'm optimistic we do through the turn, which will give us Solitude. And that'll answer the Fury. We may end up just taking the 4 from Pyromancer Elemental tokens. Probably either through a spell from their hand or... Ooh. Ragavan, you say? think we're gonna block the Ragavan if we get the opportunity. Fury's gone. That'll offset some of the life there. Oh no. Wait. That's fine. We're exiling it. Okay. Intriguing. That's... okay. Huh. Alright, we're going to draw Supreme Verdict and everything's going to be awesome. I'll tell you what, that isn't Supreme Verdict. Let's go boop, boop, boop for Teferi Time Raveler. I hate to give them Fury back, but I also hate to get attacked by it. So we'll bounce that. Especially at a 4/4. Have to... perhaps I should have cast Chalice of the Void for 1 there. Yeah. Let's see how the attacks break down. Probably only at me. Yeah, all in at me, so I think we will... answer Ragavan. That'll make Supreme Verdict better. We'll go to 3. So we can Archmage Charm to take one of the elemental tokens and block. Seems tough. Oof. I've got Counterspell. Alright, so we've got the Counterspell here for Fury. Still not looking great on the 2/2 and the 1/1, but that answers that. find it real hard to see us winning the game through the current method if we don't draw Supreme Verdict here. We've answered the Fury. We've got this dealt with if we draw Supreme Verdict. I'm saying it so that we manifest it. We've got the land. We just need to draw the verdict. Well, prismatic ending at instant speed isn't what I wanted. We've already activated, and if we fetch, cool. Okay. So rest in peace. Purge, dress down. Flusterstorm, meh. Dovin's Veto, meh. I don't think Chalice of the Void is here. I don't think this is the match for it, especially on the draw. Teferi. Jace. Let's see what we can do. That was a tough game. That was a close one. Hard to win that way. Or hard to lose that way. But we've made adjustments. We'll keep this, and this will be great. All right, they've gone to 6. To 5. Okay. All right, we'll lead off Triome with game 2 of round 3. Nice. Let a Strand pass. Yeah, I was very intrigued to not have Thoughtseize on turn 1 from the opponent here, or last game, but I guess the bombardments and the blood gas kind of make it make sense. Renin 6. Okay. I think we go ahead and grab Hallowed Fountain here and shock it in, casting the Leyline Binding as an answer for that Renin 6. We could do it at sorcery speed, but I actually want to go ahead and get Teferi on the battlefield and plus it to protect it from Fury. Maybe they scam a Fury in to answer, but like we got Solitude that we can use to answer that. So let's see. Plus they can't scam because of Teferi. I'm silly. Glad I saw it. All right, that's a great untap step. That is such a good untap step there with the draw step of a counter spell. Love to see it. Just push on through to the next turn since Teferi's on the battlefield. Can feel comfortable just F6ing. Let's grab the Ragavan Triome. Second white source on all of that. Archmage Charm is going to be great. Let's make sure we activate Teferi. That makes Prismatic Ending so much better. Alright, our hand is great. We've got a Teferi that's got 7 loyalty counters on the battlefield. Feeling pretty good about this hand. I would just rather them not Pyromancer at all. Sweet. Good stuff. Land. Love to see it. There's no real stress at the moment to reduce the number of counters on Teferi. Prismatic Ending being an instant speed spell puts a smile on my face. We can cast Solitude during their end step here. Just really want to keep this as hard to deal with as possible because that negates the explosiveness they have. Teferi's a really important card to the format, isn't it? Takenuma. Okay. Oh, please play. Oh, okay. They didn't pick up the Ragavan, they picked up the Seasoned Pyromancer. I really wanted them to play the Pyromancer so that I could Archmage Charm it. Or, sorry, the Ragavan. Really just turn the corner here. No targets. They can't interact. Thank you, Teferi. Land plus classic control. We've got our win condition online. We've got the board under control. We've got a way to answer things on the stack. We've got a pseudo advantage generator in Castle Vantress. Removal spell. Like, we're looking pretty solid here. Got a bolt. I think we'll actually be okay. We do have this other Solitude here. We'll let this one resolve so that we have something for Solitude. Sweet. I like to see Terminates going to the graveyard. That means fewer removal spells to answer my Solitudes. Did have 2 tokens here, but I think Teferi is at a high enough loyalty count that we can bounce one of those tokens and be fine. That does take Prismatic Ending out of the equation as an instant speed threat, but I think we're fine. I think we're going to be fine. Especially with double Archmage Charm. Even with the planes that we drew, we can still cast both of them in the same turn. Probably could put a bow on this one. We are at 22. Remember that Kaheera is a card that I have access to. If they don't produce anything... yeah, I don't think we really need to do anything but stay the course. Memory Deluge, perfect. We'll plus to Fairy, we'll draw Kaheera, and we'll attack for 3. Sick. Alright, like I said, probably could put a bow on this one. Move on to the next one. But as long as our opponent has fewer seconds on their clock than we do, I feel more comfortable. Nissa. Okay. Seasoned Pyromancer. Yes. I think we need a Memory Deluge this turn. I think that's fine. It's going to turn Village Rites. Okay. Deluge. What do we got? Celestial Purge is pretty good. Don't think we need a second Time Raveler, so we'll grab Island. Another Solitude is very welcome. Plus to Fairy. Let's put Kaheera on the battlefield. And attack with Solitude. See what happens. Okay. Plenty fine with that. Hand looks great. Just taking our time. We can cast Prismatic Ending at instant speed, so Purge plus that. We only have one white source, so Lightning Bolt targeting Solitude. Okay. Sure. No. I don't like that. That can't happen. No, thank you. All right, so 5, 6. Maybe they send it all at Teferi. Kaheera's not a great blocker. We do have this Purge. I'm going to go ahead and point at this Pyromancer. kind of clean up this mess here. Flooded Strand. Again, I think we're safe enough with Teferi's loyalty count. We can bounce this elemental token and draw a card. Solitude in the hand. Yeah, let's go ahead and sorcery speed it. I'm not sure they have a lot of draw steps that can answer this. So, fingers crossed. We've got Dress Down. We've got Prismatic Ending. Well, we don't have Prismatic Ending because we bounced the token. But we've got Dress Down. For something like Fury. Okay. That is just fine. What is the other card, though? It's a land. Sweet. I think we're still going to hold this Dress Down. Hall. Prismatic Ending. Bounce a token. Attack for 7. Let's go. All right. Maybe we draw Rest in Peace this time. I don't think we need Hallowed Moonlight. I think our cards exiling their creatures handles that well enough. Supreme Verdict is probably one of the other only cards that we have that just straight destroys. But I like the deck. I like where we're at right now. Let's see if we can keep up what we're doing. We've got this game, we're on the draw. Looks pretty good. But again, we're on the draw, so if they like Ragavan turn 1, we'll have to Hallowed Fountain. We've got Solitude we can do something with. Maybe we aren't getting scammed. I hope we aren't getting scammed. Please just be Ragavan. We're getting scammed. The good thing about Solitude is that their spells that would save it, their Feigned Deaths, they don't save it from exile. So they still get to take a card, which is tough. Probably take the Prismatic Ending. Archmage Charm is a little bit away. They might also have a Thoughtseize. At that point, our hand is just lands. So we got a tall order to get this game through. Okay. Maybe they go Ragavan instead. Yeah. They've got the Ragavan too. Sweet. Okay, well, we're going to play Ragavan Triumph since we didn't draw another answer. And pass the turn. Let's get that Kahira out there so I remember it's there. Save time. Alright, what does our opponent nab from us? With a fetch land. Oh, Rest in Peace. That'd have been so good. That'd have been such a good draw for us. Oh well. Scalding Tarn is not a great draw for us. It's pretty good. Maybe we actually get to Archmage Charm the Ragavan. That'd be kind of sick. I'd like that. Let's go ahead and fetch the Triomes so that Ragavan doesn't accidentally exile it on us. We have nothing to respond with. They know our hand for the most part except for Scalding Tarn. So, again, just conserve time. Vantress is in the exile zone at this point. Oof. Are they casting a Grief? Don't do that. They're kicking a Turok. Oh, please. Fantastic. Let's go. Protection from white on Turok. I gotta remember those extra lines of text. So that means it can't be solituded, bindinged. That's tough. That's real tough. I think we take the Ragavan here. I think that's our way to answer Turok. They're casting Grief. So let's... They're evoking Grief. So let's nab Ragavan right now. Because they're not going to get anything at this point. And if they have a problem with that, they have to spend another card to answer Ragavan. Turok is not great for us. Feign Death. Does that bring it into play tapped? I hope so. Nice. We'll take that 4, thank you. Kind of like to draw a Supreme Verdict at some point when I want it, right? Is Ragavan connecting? Sick, it's Nissa. And I haven't played my land this turn. Oh, that means I can go get a Solitude? That's so cool. And it's a body that can block Turok. The mana doesn't matter. Just gonna add Kahera to my hand so that that can answer Grief if you want it to this turn. I think we still just block Turok with Nissa. We can't do anything with Grief because it has Menace. And they know that, so they're just sending Grief in solo. Which is fine with me because I'm not excited about that, but that might actually be the best thing for us. White. Let's just... Let's just attack with Nissa. If they block, which I don't think they will. They did not. Let's go ahead and actually just Solitude. We can get a basic plains here. We'll get a white off of Nissa. We'll answer Grief. We've got Ragavan that can block Turok this turn. Unfortunately, that might be our only option. I should have cast Supreme Verdict. This is bad. This is real bad. They have two cards in their hand. If either of those can answer Ragavan, I just made a huge mistake. Oh, man. Get lucky? Get lucky. They don't have an answer to Turok. Or to Ragavan. Sweet. But that does end up taking Ragavan off of our half of the battlefield, which I'm not worried about because we have a hand that is stellar. Let's see if we Kahira and just attack. Oh, it gives them vigilance. That doesn't do anything against Turok. I guess we just don't attack with Nissa. I think I'm okay with that. I have Supreme Verdict for the Solitude in our hand. Vigilance is such a good add to the elementals through Kahira. That's just nuts. Alright, well, that gets us a free turn out of Turok. I'm so sorry, Rin. I didn't notice your comment. Welcome. It goes pretty well. This has been some tough games. Let's cast Dress Down here so that Fury doesn't do anything. That also takes protection from white away from Turok, so there's that. But that also means we're not really attacking with anything this upcoming turn. We can Solitude the Fury off of the battlefield. Blue-white Solitude here. This is going and doing some awesome work for us here. Alright, so what's our answer to Turok? I gotta find one. Nugget, you are correct. It does get rid of protection. But since we have the crew now assembled, let's draw something good. Binding still doesn't answer Turok. Don't care. Yeah, I don't think we can do anything. We have to try real hard to save some time. Opponent's drawing one spell a turn. It looks like, essentially. Oh, Bloodghast. Did we set out Jace? We did. Dang. Otawara? Alright. Only one target available. Let's go to Fairy. Draw a card. Archmage Charm it is. I'll attack with Nissa. Give them a window. Maybe they hit the Fairy. We've got a Archmage Charm for the Bolt if they have that. They don't have that. So we'll just pass on through. No reason to do anything. Plus to Fairy. Is it an answer to Turok? Come on, Otawara. Nope, it is not. Alright, so we'll attack with Nissa again. Sorry, I've got the screen off to the side down so that I can... Stomping Ground, sweet. F6. Actually, undo that. Oh well. Alright, one last time. Just F6 through, I don't care. We'll skip the Teferi activation, that chunk of time off the clock. Sweet. Let's go. Same thing with Dress Down. It's kind of a good answer to the whole scam action. Just redundancy. So we are on the draw. Got a basic island and a basic plain. So we will join our opponent in Mulligan Town. Just a single basic island here for 6 on us. How does our opponent feel about their 6? They like it. They're going to keep and put 1 back. We're going to go to 5. Keep this one. Otawara and Prismatic Ending can go back. We'll end up playing Zagoth Triome on turn 1. Opponent is Living End. And griefing us. Tough. Goodbye, Archmage Charm, I bet. Well, let's hope we can draw something. Let's hope we can draw something. And I totally did that wrong anyway. I was supposed to go Ragavan Triome off of a Flooded Strand and then play the Zagoth. Let's not tilt. Polluted Delta. Pass. Hallowed Fountain still allows us to cast Leyline for 2. Okay. Opponent doesn't have Leyline of the Void yet. Or a way to cascade in. Archfiend of Ifnir. Okay. We'll just fill out Domain while we've got the window open. A second Solitude. Oof. It's not great, especially with opponent still looking to put all these baddies onto the battlefield. And we are getting ever so lucky. Second white source. Okay. They're going here. Not a fan. Oof. Yep. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Take a Waker off the battlefield. Solitude another Waker. We've still got 5, 8, 11, 16 power. Yeah, we're done here. I have to have drawn a Supreme Verdict the next turn. Yeah, no, okay. We didn't see Chalice, which now we know is very important. Rest in Peace, Flusterstorm, Dovin's Veto, and Hallowed Moonlight. Jesus, we have so much for this matchup. Let's cut our removal. We got Prismatic Endings can go away. Leyline Binding's pretty bad too. We're pretty much just trying to stick it to Fairy or a Chalice. And that should win us the game. At least do a lot of work towards winning us the game. Dress Down's pretty good, but not fantastic. Just keep one, I guess. We have a ton of cards on our board for this matchup. But again, like, we're kind of leaning towards a different set of cards against. All right, there's Chalice. There's Dovin's Veto. We can keep this one. There's Teferi as well. We'll send back Hero. Let's see what opponent's doing. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, man. Sorry, had a really funny idea that I needed to write down. Um, let's cast Chalice for 0. And we'll put Zagoth onto the battlefield. Maybe we have to Triome. Or maybe we have to Dovin's Veto. Maybe we get to Triome. Loosey Goosey. Scalding Tarn pass. They're going to get their cycling action happening. Botanical Sanctum. Okay, they did hit a second land. Alright, we're gonna fetch up our full domain setup. Luckily, Scry is kind to us, and somehow Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, through the magic of Scalding Tarn, has found his way back to us. The power of friendship. Alright, so we're just gonna make sure we have a way to answer what our opponent's gonna try to do to our Chalice of the Void. Force of Vigor comes to mind as an answer, but they don't have a whole lot of green cards. Grief is pretty good. They can have it. Dovin's Veto. Alright, we'll draw 2 cards at the end step. Sick. Add another layer of protection. Okay. I have Force of Negation. Still have Chalice on the battlefield, so we're looking alright. They're still digging for an answer to that, thankfully. Grief is gonna see a stacked hand. Probably take Hero of Dominaria, maybe? No, they're taking Archmage Charm. I don't... Right, they have 1 card left. We'll play Land Pass. That's going to go get a Hallowed Fountain. It'll be our second white source so that we can Supreme Verdict in this sword. Okay. I'd really like to see Rest in Peace or something like that. That'd be really cool. You know, while we're winning, let's win the war. Sheesh. Alright, we do have Memory Deluge to help us get some land so that we can start resolving Teferi and heading towards the finish line here. That's the problem with Control that people perceive as, or the reason people hate Control is because once it wins the game, it takes forever to win the game. Like, there's a difference. Because I feel like we've won the game here. Like, we've got Chalice, we've got ways to protect it, but we haven't actually won the game because we haven't reduced our opponent's life total to 0. Even if their 1 card here is... Alright, we're going to grab Vantress, Mystic Gate. An answer to Chalice, like... It is an answer to Chalice, but it doesn't matter at this point. Well, it kind of does, honestly. Actually, it kind of does a lot. Alright, well, we've got the counterspell. I just really need them to... Alright, yeah, it doesn't matter at this point. Castle, let's resolve to Fairy. We'll get to untap 2 lands, and that gives us Counterspell and Hallowed Moonlight. So even if that card off the top of their library is a Cascade spell, we've got an app for that. Boom. I'd prefer if we have the option to cast Hallowed Moonlight to counterspell so that it does still take everything. Nice. Alright. On the draw, let's see what we can do. It's a much tougher matchup on the draw. Flusterstorm helps a lot. Let's draw that. Let's actually resolve a Rest in Peace. How about that? We've got so many cards that are good in this matchup that we have to have because Force of Negation. Sheesh. Alright, there's our Pokemon. Alright. Look at this. This is what we in the business call a sneep. We won't even put Zagoth Triome out there yet. Dovin's Veto is good enough to answer Living End by itself. Can't be countered, so Force of Negation doesn't mess with that, and that's kind of the only way they have kind of really to protect what they're doing with that. So gonna put the Discord link up. If anybody who is in chat has been enjoying today's stream, hit that follow button. Really appreciate it. Join the Discord. We arrived at playing blue-white today because the Discord asked for it. Nugget, who is a longtime fan and friend and supporter of the channel, is often here and requested that the third deck in our weekly Tuesday night poll was blue-white, and everybody in the Discord voted for it, and that's why we're playing it tonight. So if you have anything like that you would like to offer up, that's generally a subscriber sort of situation. Oh, well, we're kindred spirits in that way, Nugget. Alright, so opponent is going through the motions here, making sure they have what they need. We're gonna Mystic Gate and pass. Alright, so they are still digging, filling out that perfect hand. Let's wait one more turn. Let's wait one more turn, and then we'll cast Rest in Peace. Just one more turn. Let's see. This is like the worst nightmare of a... Oh. Force of Vigor at instant speed. I mean, the exile is the hard work. Actually, I'm fine with that. That's fine. Blusterstorm. Feels good. Feels good. Bow, 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 bow. Also playing Pauper on Thursdays. And on Sundays, I usually take whichever 3 decks are in the poll and play them through a couple of rounds apiece in the tournament practice room to get a good session in on those. I got a little confused on where we were, when we were. But that's fine. I can't Dovin's veto that. Which is a little concerning. Because even just Curator Grief is tough. Especially since Grief gets to nab, like, Teferi. Oof. Supreme Verdict. Nope. Archmage Charm number 3. So we got 7, 8, and 9 on the battlefield here. We can't get Kaheera into our hand. So we're going to end up drawing 2, I believe. I should have worked harder to save that rest in peace. Draw 2. Hey, it's a Solitude. I like that. That's real good. Island Pass. I think we'll have to actually Solitude the Curator. Actually, we may have to... Ugh. This is one of the tough choices. We have to... Yeah, I don't think we... This is a tough choice. I think Solitude's going to actually end up answering Curator of Mysteries. They attack. We'll cast... They don't have any real way of dealing instant speed damage. Subtlety. Well, that's a win. GG. Oof. Alright. Let's finish strong here. Let's get the 3-2. Oh, man. We're on the draw. We've got 3 blue sources and Archmage. I think we can keep this. We've got Chalice as well. And we'll be able to sniff out pretty accurately what our opponent's doing from turn 1. as to when we should cast Chalice. Steam-Vents is still probably our turn 1 play, land-wise, depending on what our draw step is. Polluted Delta into Steam-Vents. Yikes. Okay, this might be Murktide. So Chalice on 1 seems pretty good. Oh man, this is the Izzet Scam deck that I played last Saturday. Oh, that's great. Okay. Wow. Alright, give me a white card. Oof, that's a hard white card to have to exile. But we have to, because that's so much damage. They can't spell pierce it. I mean, maybe they have the hexproof card, but okay, sweet. Cool. We can take off that upkeep stop. We can Hall of the Storm Giants Chalice for 1 next turn. Hall Chalice for 1. That'll take care of a good chunk of the stuff that they do. They go down a lot of cards to be able to scam, and since we had an answer to that, Ledger Shredder is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Chalice on 1 is going to keep them from getting the advantage from all of the 1-drops that they play, which helps fuel the Shredder. So hopefully we just kind of negated that as a threat. Let's see. Alright, so we're going to start getting attacked for 1. And that's okay. But hey. 2 mana up. They have counter spells, so I'm going to play Island and hope that we can hit a white source off this Archmage Charm. Although they probably counterspell it, right? Alright, let's see. Let's see. Do we get to draw 2 cards? We do get to draw 2 cards. Lovely. No white source, though. A Solitude. We'll just play Otawara and pass. Five cards in our opponent's hand. We've got Dress Down that we can cast. Cantrip off of it. I'd hate to just waste it, but their untapped mana usually means counterspell, and I don't want to run Memory Deluge into it. Expressive Iteration, that's fine. You go ahead. Absolutely. That gives us a window to Memory Deluge, and I love that. Cool. Don't think we need another Chalice. Let's go Plains Hallowed Fountain. Plains Prismatic Ending. They do play fours, so yeah. Okay, well, we'll not play a second spell. No need to give them a connive trigger. We can keep it kind of small. We have a second prismatic ending. We're about to put a second white source on the battlefield so Solitude can do its thing. We're at 17. This has 1 power. We're looking great. We got time. 3 cards. Chalice is so good. One of those cards you're never 100% sure of exactly how big of an impact it had. Let's dress down here, I think. I'll just keep the Shredder from conniving during our turn if we have to. Okay. Leyline Binding is a great card to see here. So is Archmage's Charm. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. But that's fine. We'll pay the life. Gives us the option to binding still if they answer this. It's tough. Worked out. So we got most bases covered now. We just really, again, as always, need to find that way to turn the corner. Solitude is usually that. I would have liked to have had the extra mana left over to be able to Solitude. Okay. What is your second spell? Do you have a second spell? A little trepidatious about casting that Shredder in the first place. Ooh, okay. Chalice is going to answer that Ragavan, then Ledger Shredder is going to connive. I think that's fine. We've got the Leyline Binding. I kind of slip out the back. I'll just cast Leyline Binding here. Nab that Shredder. Oh, we've got a counterspell as our last card in hand. Fantastic. That means the Solitude is going to eat this Ledger Shredder alive. Mystic Gate. Let's make white, blue. Oh, and that gets the concession. Let's go. All right. So they're not blinking things as much. They do have one blink spell, but they phase. Makes it a little more difficult to answer. Um, Although we are very well equipped and capable of answering it with the Solitudes and the Leyline bindings. Um, Purge, Dress Down. Flusterstorm. Rest in Peace is not as useful. Teferi's slow but still plausible. Chalice on 1 is kind of great. Archmage Charm grabbing Ragavan's pretty sweet. Man. Jace. You know, honestly, Dress Down may not be good enough. I think we have to have a way to just exile the card, get rid of it and altogether. And since there is it, they don't have a whole lot of ways to interact with Leyline Binding. Sweet. There's a Flusterstorm, there's a Chalice. No actual answers, though. None of these are actual answers to their issue that they're about to present to us. So we need to mulligan this. There's a Prismatic Ending and a counter spell with a Chalice of the Void that doesn't answer. Answers Ragavan, but not a Scammed In Fury or a Subtlety. Here we go. Prismatic Ending and oh man, Archmage Charm can go. It's just too important. It sucks to have to invest that much into that, but oh man, they have a Subtlety to back it up. Oh, that's so gross. Sheesh. Let's go top. Hopefully the next card down is a... Oof. Yikes. Big yikes. Come on. White spell. That is not... if we hit a land that comes into play untapped, we can Kahira to the hand to Solitude the Fury, but we'll be way close to dead. Bolt or a Stiff Breeze will kill us. Go to 2. Alright, it is a white card. Just go to their turn. Yeah. Yeah, so even with our mulligan, like, since they had Subtlety, they were down just as many cards. If they have like Counterspell here, then Flusterstorm's really good. Okay. They messed up. They cast their Flusterstorm before they let me resolve my storm triggers. So they're about to learn that lesson. There they go. They learned. Still got plenty of game to play, though. So... let's draw a Mystic Gate. I'd like that. Otawara is pretty good. Just show them how dead we are. Can't cast anything else, so let's put Chalice on 1 to protect us from Lightning Bolt. This is getting dicey. This is a whoo. Okay, we got a Spire Bluff Canal pass from our opponent. Polluted Delta. Okay. That's tough. I think it has to be Hallowed Fountain, but it has to come into play tapped. And if we're getting Hallowed Fountain tapped, why aren't we getting Ragaran? Let's just grab Ragaran then. Going to 1. Hard times. We're not getting Ragaran because we want to cycle it. Or just play it. I have 2 cards in hand. We've locked off all 1-drops, so Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, Essence. Well, Flusterstorm gets around it because of the copies. This is still a draw 2 window. Okay. Force of Negation keeps us from doing that. Well, we can't cast that ever, or play that, or use that at all. So, Kaheera, let's win the game. Okay. All right, let's go. Salvage the 3/2. Let's get there. We're at 1. Oof. So spooky. Hey, there's something we can do. Do this during our opponent's end step. We have a plan. You're absolutely correct, Nugget. We have a plan. I wouldn't say it's a good plan, but it's a plan. Ledger Shredder. Let's cast Solitude. They have Fire Ice? I shouldn't have said it. Sweet. Are we out of the woods? Sick. Let's go. The plan worked. We scraped by and got the 3-2. Boom. Look at that, folks. Look at that. You love to see it. All right. You know the tradition. If we end up with a positive record, we open one treasure chest. So let's open a treasure chest. Boom. Boom. What do we get? Erwin, Mortal Queen, and Cloudkill. I like the modern blue-white control list. We got a 3-2 out of it. Probably could do better, given a little more time, a little more practice, a little more familiarity with the way this one plays. Excited to see what Lord of the Rings does to modern. The ring's going to be everywhere, which is going to raise the stock of leyline binding. There's a couple of things going on there, so like we'll see. We'll see what things happen. Tron's going to be good again. That's where I've seen a lot of people play the One Ring to the most success. This has been Anthony with Antog's Den, signing off.